Curfew lifted on the Family Islands, the state of emergency to extend, and face-to-face learnings to be suspended. Good evening, everyone. I'm Leah Cooper with your JCN News for this Monday, May 17th. A resolution to extend the state of emergency for another 3 months will be debated in the House of Assembly this coming Wednesday. Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis informing House Speaker Halton Moultrie of as much this as the country battles a third wave of the COVID-19 pandemic. Today, during the brief House sitting, the Prime Minister laid several documents, including Governor General Sir Cornelius' proclamation of the state of emergency signed on Friday, which notes that despite the fact that a national vaccination distribution program is in progress, there remains a comparatively low percentage of fully vaccinated persons in the Bahamas. The Governor General also cited a third wave of COVID-19 infections on both New Providence and Grand Bahama.
And whereas, according scientific and medical advice, COVID-19 is likely to persist as a pandemic in the Bahamas for a foreseeable future. Whereas I'm satisfied that the COVID-19 pandemic continues to persist in the Bahamas. And therefore, I, the Most Honorable Cornelius Alvin Smith, Governor General of the Bahamas, in exercise of the powers conferred upon me by Article 29(1)(d) of the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Bahamas, hereby declare that A, with effect from the 14th day of May 2021, a state of public emergency exists in the Bahamas, and B, this proclamation of emergency shall continue for a period of 14 days unless extended by each of the Parliament by resolution, continuing it in force for a further period as provided Article 29(5) of the Constitution.
This is the fourth time the Governor General has declared a state of emergency. This new proclamation allows the competent authority to extend the emergency powers orders for another 6 months. The Prime Minister notes, however, the intent is to extend the emergency powers orders to August 13th, but it's the hope that the country will not need the 3 months.
It is our hope that with the vaccination aggressively and progressively moving throughout the world and continue to the Bahamas, that and with the cooperation with our populace and following the mitigation protocols of the pandemic, that we would see a turn once that commenced. We would love to remove all emergency powers orders so that individuals can return back to their normal life following the new protocols of world standards and the world will put forth as quickly as possible. It's our hope, Mr. Speaker, that we would not need the 3 months, and once we see the turn, we would be more than happy to remove the emergency powers.
State of emergency was first declared in the country in March 2020 after the first confirmed COVID-19 case in the Bahamas. It was then extended in June and then again in November 2020. It was set to expire this month on the 23rd. Before this latest proclamation, senators have been summoned by the Governor General to meet tomorrow for the same, and parliamentarians in the lower chamber will reconvene on Wednesday to debate. With that said, a new emergency order outlining changes to indoor dining and travel requirements for those fully vaccinated. Restaurants here in the capital and Abaco that were previously prohibited from offering indoor dining may now do so to patrons who have been fully vaccinated for COVID-19. Patrons must provide proof of vaccination, and patrons and employees must continue to adhere to COVID-19 protocols. New rules also see daily curfews lifted from all Family Islands where a curfew was in place: Abaco, Eleuthera, and Exuma. However, Grand Bahama's daily curfew remains 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. and New Providence curfew remains 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. Under the new order, the requirement has been removed for RT-PCR COVID-19 testing for persons traveling from Abaco, Eleuthera, and Exuma. However, the testing requirement remains in place for persons traveling from New Providence and Grand Bahama, except in the case of fully vaccinated travelers who are exempted from the test requirement. And while a fully vaccinated traveler, including citizens and residents, is not required to take a RT-PCR, one is still required to obtain a travel health visa. However, visa fees for fully vaccinated persons have been reduced for citizens and residents. International travel health visas for fully vaccinated citizens and residents are $10. Domestic travel visas for fully vaccinated travelers are free of charge. The fine for submitting falsified vaccination records is $10,000 or 2 years imprisonment or both. It was a move that was expected by some, while others were hoping that the government would further relax some COVID-19 emergency powers regulations, as opposed to having another state of emergency declared by extending the EPO for another 6 months. JCN's news team took to the streets today to gauge the public's reaction to the extension of the emergency powers by the competent authority. Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis. Our Jarino Saunders has those reactions.
With no signs that the end is in sight for the coronavirus pandemic globally, the state of emergency for the Bahamas has been extended, paving the way for the government or the competent authority to have up to another 6 months of emergency powers. The extension means continued curfews, limits on various business operations, and continued travel restrictions, although there has been a slight relaxing of travel restrictions with the introduction of the COVID-19 vaccine. We took to the streets today to get the public's opinion and reactions to the emergency orders being extended, as they were to end on Sunday, May 23rd. While some are understanding of the extension, others feel it's not necessary and chalk it up to political maneuvering.
The Bible says we have to trust our leaders because God has placed them there, right? And they have to get the understanding as to where God wants them to go with this, because they of themselves don't know what to do. You understand? So if the leader of this country says that's what we have to do, that's what we have to comply with, and ask God for the strength to do it. And you look around in all the other countries, they are doing so much worse than we are. So if we have to continue, that's what the leader of the country say, so be it. And that's whether he's PLP, FNM, or whoever.
Honestly, as it pertains to like the curfew, I don't feel like it's necessary. The other orders, such as the traveling restrictions and stuff, I feel like they should still be in place. But as far as the curfew, that's the only thing I have an issue with, honestly.
My thought on the extension, right? The being people can stay inside. That's number one. They always want to move because on the lockdown, that's too much pressure on the people. So I don't think they can stay inside. So cheaper they stay open.
Right now, it's not necessary because we done going through some stuff right now where, as though a lot of us ain't working. Some people lose their jobs, they lose their homes because they can't pay rent, they can't do nothing. People don't want food, and then they cut down of the free food given. It ain't making no sense. And to have lockdown right now is only gonna make it worse. The tourists is not coming in, money is not coming in. American money coming in, and we live off of American money. So if it ain't coming in, it ain't nothing happening over here.
Well, it's another 6 months. It's like we're in prison anyway. We are in prison for another 6 months.
Most who we spoke with also believe the emergency orders are being used as a political tool. Meanwhile, in the extended emergency orders, there are certain provisions for individuals who are fully vaccinated. Some believe it's an added incentive to encourage more people to get the jab. With that said, most people we spoke to on the streets today are still skeptical about taking the COVID-19 vaccine, while others, they actually welcome it.
I think that's a personal choice for everyone, right? Because there was a time in this country that vaccines were mandatory. If you were in the Bahamas, you had to have a polio, right? You also had to have, measles, mumps. You had to have that because in this area, the Caribbean, those were rampant, right? Now this is a vaccine that is all over the world. So that's a personal choice.
I actually already got my first dose, so yes, I'm pro-vaccine. Yeah.
I'm not taking no vaccine because one, we don't know what in it. We don't know what in it. And two, I done see a couple of people who just taking it, Some falling out dead. Some getting all kind of rashes and all kind of stuff. We ain't know what in it. And ain't nobody saying nothing. So why take something we not sure about?
With the vaccination, right? I mean, some people taking it, and then some people getting, like when they take it, some people look nervous. They get affected in 2 days. After a while, then a couple of days, they find out, they pass off. 1 or 2 free people.
So that means you're not taking the vaccine?
I don't think I want to take that. I don't take that. Trust me.
I'm not getting vaccinated, so vaccination is not a thing for me.
Now into its second year, many in the public we spoke to say they never thought they would see in their lifetime something other than a natural disaster that would impact the world on such a global level like the coronavirus pandemic. The hope is for it to all be over so that we can get back to our normal lives. Chirino Saunders for JCN News.
4 COVID-19 deaths in the Bahamas over the weekend pushed the country's national COVID-19 death toll to 221. The Ministry of Health confirming in its latest dashboard for Sunday, May 16th, that a 56-year-old male of New Providence died on Saturday, May 15th. On Saturday, 2 unfortunate deaths were reported. That's a 73-year-old female of Andros who died on Saturday and an 80-year-old female of New Providence who died on Thursday. May 13th, in its Friday update, health officials confirmed the death of a 74-year-old male of New Providence who died on Monday, May 10th. As for new infections of COVID-19, more than 100 were confirmed over the weekend. Health officials confirming 41 cases for Sunday, 50 on Saturday, and 61 cases on Friday, for a total of 152 additional infections. 123 cases were confirmed on New Providence, 6 with a history of travel, 11 on Andros, 7 on the Berry Islands, 5 on Grand Bahama, 2 on Exuma, 1 case each on Eleuthera, Inagua, and Cat Island, and 1 case with the location pending. These cases bring the total in country to 11,225. 847 cases are active in country, 46 of them hospitalized. 8 are in intensive care. 78 cases recovered over the weekend, pushing total recoveries to 10,080. You're watching JCN News. Stay with us.